Hey everyone, Brian Fouts here with EVG. In this lesson, this is for the Foundation Series Asset Protection, and what we're going to be talking about here is the basics of asset protection for a person or if you're going to be creating a business or an entity. And this doesn't really matter if you're just starting out in your path to wealth or if you already have a business. If you don't have the foundation asset protection in place, this is what this is about. And for me personally, when I was starting out in life, I didn't even know about asset protection. I had no idea about trusts or living trusts or wills or entity formations. I had no idea. And I didn't actually find out about asset protection until I was probably in my about 30 years old, maybe in my early 30s. And I didn't realize that throughout my life, I had left myself open to litigation and legal issues. And as I went through my path to my personal wealth, I did put an asset protection in place. And things did end up happening to myself and to my brother Jake that if we hadn't put those in place previous to it happening, we would have been open to some pretty serious litigation. So today we have Kevin Day with us from Day & Associates to help us talk about asset protection strategies. So appreciate it. Welcome.
Great to be here.
Yeah. So we're going to go through some basics today in the foundations in this video. We're going to be following this up with some more detailed videos on living trusts and wills, and then a second one on entity formation and structuring. So, appreciate it. Thanks for being here.
Absolutely, absolutely. Asset protection really covers a huge area in my mind. It goes to the extreme where it's lawsuit protection, right. But my area is really the support and the secondary to what you're doing in your life to make wealth for your family. So the asset protection includes keeping more in your family, keep more of what you've earned, and not have it go to a potential future creditor, not have it go to taxes unnecessarily, not have it go and wasted to lawyers in the estate plans when it should be going to your children. So it's a pretty broad gamut, but the general area is really whatever you're doing to make money, whether you're a W-2 employee and you're building up the ladder and accruing your wealth, or you're entrepreneurial, making money, my job is to support you in keeping it.
Right. No, that's awesome. I know when I was younger and starting out, I didn't even know that I would have to have that. I didn't even think about litigation. I think, 1 in 4 people will get litigated against in their life. And as I found out, when you have success and wealth, that actually probably increases.
They say actually 1 in 2 of business owners,
wow,
somewhere in their lifetime won't just have litigation, but have a significant litigation come their way.
Right. And for asset protection, we're going to be seeing obviously Kevin throughout all the quadrants of the EVG Wealth Blueprint, all the way through to legacy. It doesn't matter if you have a successful business today and you're making $5 million of revenue a year, or you're a W-2 employee, as you alluded to. Mm-hmm. Asset protection, it needs to be implemented as soon as possible, basically from the start in the beginning. What's your background though in litigation? I mean, what is it got you to where you're at today?
It was a very circuitous route. I was a contracts drafter. I speak Chinese. I have an MBA in international business, and I was going that route, and had a client in the very, very early 90s that said, hey, there's these offshore trusts, and went to this seminar about them, and my CPA looked into them. They're completely legal, but the attorney was a little bit of an SOB, and so I know you're international, but you're not really a trust guy. I had a partner that was a trust guy, and he said, look into it. I know that you guys are entrepreneurial, and if you like it, then I'll be your first client. And we looked into it, and it was legal. There's all kinds of IRS. So I started I'm a trust lawyer, dyed in the wool now, from everything down to little living trusts and trusts for grandmas and everything. But I started at these really difficult, high, complex international trusts, and then kind of came down to the rest of the world. And it's been fun because I get to work with either entrepreneurs or employees that really are thoughtful about making their estate, their family in a better position. Thoughtful people. I love working with thoughtful people, which EVG people always are. I love speaking with your clients.
Yeah, it's awesome to hear. And I know when I was starting out, and even as a W-2 employee, I really wish I had met you at that point in my life, because it probably would have changed my path. So for all the EVG members who are watching this now, they're definitely ahead of the curve, to hear this stuff now when they're starting out. But for this series, this foundation series, it's just to basically get a good basic level of understanding for asset protection. So the next couple of videos we're going to go through, one is trusts, living trusts.
We actually want to start at the most basic, because trusts probably apply to most of you, but you need to know what a will is. And they're alternatives in most part. So we will cover what a will is, just because our job at EVG is not to tell you exactly what you need to do, but educate you and arm you in a way that you are making the decision. Rely on the experts that are on the team, but we're kind of like faculty. And we're not doing our job if we don't teach you about all the tools. And certain things might not apply to you, but they apply to your sister or brother or friend. So you become the resource to them, which enhances your confidence to build your empire however you're going to build it. So we'll cover wills and what are the thresholds, why would you have a will over a trust, and then a trust or a comprehensive estate plan. And these are foundational issues. Even if you're not a large estate, but you have a child or children, you want to put these really basic pieces into place. If your estate is starting to grow, by the time you start to own some real property, own a home, even if you aren't married, don't have children, you should put these things in place, because it means whoever your heirs are, whether it's your mom and dad, sister, brother, cousins, too much money is lost in the probate process. Right. And this is such an easy tool to implement. And most people think about estate planning in general when they have a child or when they buy their first home. That's usually. So everybody needs to know that.
Yeah. And then of course, for EVGers, a lot of what we talk about is, or how the wealthy do it especially, is through owning a business. A lot of the wealthy create their wealth through businesses. I know Jake and I, we have probably 3 or 4 different businesses that we are involved in. Some are very small, some are very large, like EVG. And asset protection, just like you're talking about, is involved from the beginning when you have a business as well.
Right. So we want to cover the basics of companies. What's a general partnership? What's a limited partnership? What's an LLC? What's a corporation? And entrepreneurs, why would you want that envelope of a business entity, and what are the drawbacks of not having it? But even if you're a W-2 employee, having a simple little company that costs $980 to run some hobby, if you can take some hobby and turn it into some modicum of business, then you get write-offs out of that office in your home. And so you don't have to put, you say, hey, I'm making good money as a W-2 employee and I've got a good track that's going to move me up the ladder. It's still good to put your thinking cap on as an entrepreneur and turn a little hobby into a part-time job, and it will be a good resource of accumulating more wealth.
Yep, especially through tax write-offs, you have more money to invest. Jake and I did that from the beginning. I think the first thing I ever did was create a little LLC, and all of a sudden I had $6,000 more a year to put into investments, and this was obviously years ago, but that's how I got started, was through that. Yeah. So we're excited to go through these topics, and obviously we're working with you and having the EVGers hear from you. I mean, you're one of the top, probably 5 or top 3 asset protection attorneys in the U.S. So we're excited to have you here.
Luckily. Thank you.
Well, appreciate it. So anyway, for the EVGers and the members, go ahead and watch the following videos and start learning about asset protection. And of course, if you want to ask any questions or want to talk with Kevin and his team, go ahead and use the contact form below and reach out to him. So anyways, appreciate you being here, and we'll see you guys in the next video.